Hi, I'm Lee Iridium. Hope everyone's doing all right today. It's album review time, and we've got the band Audrey Horne and their album Devil's Bell. This is their 7th studio album. They're a Norwegian band. This album is coming out on April the 22nd on the great label Napalm Records. So, what sort of band is this if you don't know them already? Well, they're known as a hard rock band, but their influences come from a time where this band was about then. It would be a metal band. Surely it would be a metal band. That's how it would be. We're talking late 70s, early 80s influence from brilliant bands like classic Maiden, classic 70s Sabbath, even parts of Thin Lizzy, I would say. Mainly coming probably from a lot of the guitar melodies going through this album. I love this album. This is the first album I've heard of Audrey Horne, and it's really fucking great album. I'm really surprised actually. I didn't really know what to expect, but listening to this album from front to back really surprised me in a fucking good way. This has got some real new wave of British heavy metal influence. And the really cool thing about this, I mean, they take a lot of influence, mainly probably I would say from Iron Maiden. But the really cool thing about this album and the sound of this band is there's a few bands now that are doing the Maiden thing, but they are literally trying to copy Maiden, even on occasions, quite a few occasions, getting vocalists that just sound exactly like Bruce Dickinson. You know, that quickly wears off. That quickly wears off. It almost sounds like a cover band, where Audrey Horne have definitely got their own sound. They just pull some cool influences from those bands I've spoken about. You know, and that's cool because they have got their own sound. But when you hear certain songs and certain melodies, you think of those bands that influence this band itself. And why not? Every band is influenced by another band, but they're far from a copy band. They've got their own sound, but they pull little bits from these bands I've spoken about. So this is a great album, guys. I really recommend this. It's coming out, like I said, on the 22nd of April, so really soon. I do run through my favourite tracks. There's quite a few to run through, but it starts off with a real banging track called Ashes to Ashes. It's a 6.5 minute opener. It's a great metal intro that goes on for a good 2 minutes before the track hits a brilliant chugging metal groove. It's an excellent chorus that's really melodic, which is a brilliant contrast to those chuggy riffs in the verses. It really gives a different sound throughout this song. The track gives me real classic metal vibes, you know, this band do in general, but really on this track it's brilliant. An excellent soaring twin lead guitar solo tops off an excellent opening track. Then I want to talk about the track Breakout. What a brilliant riff that runs through this one. The riff rides along with some brilliant charismatic vocal lines and leads to a nice simple chorus, but that metal groove never lets go until we go into a quiet, clean guitar part that's really cool, giving some differences within the song. And then we've got a slight influence, I would say, through this track, some Aussie Sabbath era for sure on this one. It's a great track. Return to Grave Valley is the next one I want to talk about. It's a medium paced song. We get our first true Maiden influence, I would say, on this one. A great galloping track. This band do a brilliant gallop on several of these songs. I love this track. And well, guess what? It's an instrumental. So I don't usually go for instrumentals. I don't usually talk about them being my favourite tracks. But this one is brilliant. It really could fit on an early classic Maiden album without a doubt. I absolutely love this track, and the tempo changes halfway through, and the gallop you get is just so fucking good. The next track I want to talk about is the single Devil's Bell. Send me straight to hell. There's tiny cracks in everything. This has a big Maiden influence again. Like I said, it's the first single. The gallop is present, that sort of Maiden influence gallop. Maybe, you know, this is what a lot of Maiden fans long for. a shorter track. It's straight to the point. It's got all those classic Maiden elements. What I like is it's not, like I said at the beginning, a complete Maiden carbon copy like bands are doing now. They just take great influences from them. And the chorus is absolutely huge. I love the chorus. When I reacted to this song, check that out. The latter part is almost melancholic. It's absolutely superb. The next track I want to talk about is All Is Lost. Another brilliant mid-paced galloping track that leads to a great chorus and also goes over a sort of army marching drum beat. It's cool songwriting the way it goes into that chorus. This really does bring back some classic metal nostalgia. It really does. A proper new wave of British heavy metal feel. And the last track I want to talk about is actually the longest track on the album and the closing track, over 7 minutes long. That 70s Sabbath vibe is really strong on this one. Even vocally, I would say, as that slight Aussie-inspired vocal goes over a sort of Iommi classic sounding riff. We get a brilliant twin lead solo really early on, and the track has loads of different twists and turns. It's also keeping that groove and that speed of the song that it has from the beginning. Even more Maiden influences on this one, I would say. It gives like a nod to that slightly folky modern Maiden feel they've got now. A huge extended guitar solo section closes the song off and closes the album out. So man, I was really impressed with this album. I didn't know what to expect. I heard the first song, Devil's Bell, and I loved it, but didn't really think of that much of it until I got this album sent to me early. And man, it's a real brilliant album. You're going to love this if you love those classic new wave of British heavy metal, early Maiden, early Sabbath feels. You're actually going to love this album. This is highly recommended, guys. Please pick this up. They're a great band. Audrey Horne, Devil's Bell, highly recommended. I'll see you next time.